Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to participate in the podcast. Thanks for inviting me. Listen to the previous episodes, and it seems like good conversation with good people about a topic I'm passionate about. So, um, yeah, I'll give you a little bit of general background on myself. I am originally French and Serbian, and French mom, Serbian dad. And though I was born in the States, I grew up in the south of France for most of my life until about high school, and then ended up in high school in Hawaii, college in Northern California and Spain. And I studied, kind of Spanish literature and European history in college. And I guess the one word I would use to describe myself is I'm a generalist. I've had multiple careers. What I live in Los Angeles now, and I've been here since 1998. What brought me here was the entertainment industry, and
Okay.
I I spent a good dozen years as an actor, in TV shows and movies in LA. That's how I met my wife, and kind of why I have roots in Los Angeles now with my family and two children. And then in around 2010, I got recruited by one of my old friends to help him with a nanotechnology company, because he remembered that I was very good in chemistry in high school, and so long. Well, I ended up being introduced to the world of entrepreneurship and startups in that manner, and within about a year and a half, I went from just helping part time to running the company for him. And it was a business of essentially identifying unique surface modification technologies that had a variety of applications, from waterproofing electronics to insulation of buildings to making fabrics water resistant. And we would license those and commercialize them. Many of these technologies were little known. So I learned about kind of go to market strategy and obviously marketing, positioning, and creating partnerships with some much bigger brands than ourselves at the time. And so I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and then another colleague of mine that I met in that arena got pulled into the mobility sector, and so that was my introduction to mobility back in 2016 at a company called Emotor, which is a Chinese company that focuses on battery swapping. Think Gogoro, but with battery swapping cabinets and everything for mopeds. But their first product that they introduced to the U.S., which was my responsibility as COO of the company, I was kind of involved in a lot of different aspects. It was a three-wheeled foldable electric scooter with swappable batteries that also doubled as power banks when they weren't powering this scooter. They were TSA compliant, so you could fly with them on an airplane, right, without
Wow.
exceeding the restrictions. And it revolutionized the way I saw the world. And so I spent a lot of time traveling with this Emotor Go, folded up and up in the overhead compartment in airplanes. I would get off the plane and travel cities like Dusseldorf and Paris and London on this private, personally owned electric scooter. And I was evangelizing this product. It was basically mobility that went with you everywhere you go, right? So you traveled with your own personal mobility
Exactly.
device. And and so, but the value proposition, or the sales pitch was, here, you need to spend somewhere around $1,500, because that's how much it cost. It was, fully connected with Bluetooth. It had its own app. I mean, it was way ahead of its time, right?
And that was
Uh,
in 2016.
yes.
Wow,
Yep.
that's really way ahead of its time. Really.
Yeah. No, it was a really cool engineering product. I think where it fell short, in my opinion, was the kind of vehicle engineering side. Right, it was designed more as an electronics gadget, and that's in part due to the kind of background of the CEO, involved, whose expertise was in batteries and in intelligent batteries. Um, but it didn't kind of stand the test of harsh riding in urban environments. So there were lessons to be learned from a vehicle standpoint. And so at that time, there were pressures for the company to focus on its business in China, which was the battery swapping technology for mopeds, and it's a massive market, as I'm sure with over 300 million two-wheeled
Yeah.
mopeds. That their business model was to retrofit into electric, or lead acid batteries into lithium ion batteries that were compatible with their charging stations. So the U.S. portion of the business and the micromobility division shut down, and my partner and CEO now of Drover, we launched Clever Mobility, and this was right when Bird came out and had changed the game, because the barrier to entry was no longer $1,500; it was $1, right? And you get to try this experience and of traveling with micromobility through a city, which is completely revolutionary and different than traveling with an automobile, obviously. So um, we looked at that space and we said, well, we have a lot of experience with kind of vehicles with swappable batteries, and kind of this notion of the three-wheeled platform. So Clever Mobility was founded as a technology platform around three things: three-wheeled for stability and better appeal to a broader audience. Uh, so older people with kind of less balance or unfamiliarity with two-wheel balancing could feel comfortable. The swappable battery, and the third thing that we realized we needed from an operational standpoint was accurate location tracking, right, for better operational efficiency and for user experience. And so we brought in some folks that we met that claimed to be able to do enhanced GPS that would give us 30 centimeters or less accuracy, even in urban canyons. And I didn't know enough about the business or that technology at the time to know that that was extremely challenging. And so, long story short, we spent 2 years, trying to achieve that, and it was achievable in a very controlled environment for demos and whatnot, but it didn't scale very easily. So fast forward, uh, disagreement with partners on direction who wanted Clever Mobility to become an operator. I didn't want to be an operator, fully understanding. We ended up being an operator, and I got to drive
That's
vans for 18 days and fix scooters and do all of the things that make you understand the difficulties of the business. So we parted ways, and we founded Drover in 2020, and so now it's been wow, almost 2 years coming up now that we've been doing Drover. So I'll stop there. That was kind of a long uh, background.
no, no, no. It's an extremely interesting background.